Spirit to speak.
I'll turn this there.
Oh, beloved people, go dwell in the presence of take my testimony and defend to begin my work, my Marian Trinitarian spiritualist, which I have come to reveal for Christ in this third era, in keeping with my word given in times past. 93. I came on the cloud. From it I made my universal ray descend, and through it you have had me in word, in essence, presence, and power since 1866, from Roque Rojas to 1950, through the last spokesman for whom I have made my powerful word echo, my universal word. 94. If today you have met a few who make up my people, members of the people of Israel, elements of the 12 tribes, tomorrow by these witnesses, by these emissaries that I leave among humanity, will be known throughout the world. It will be proclaimed as truth, and will be an anchor of salvation, a saving force, a star for all travelers, and a kingdom of peace for the entire universe, because this is my will. 95. Soon you will have me in the fullness of the Holy Spirit. 96. Why do you cry, people? 97. Here is how my word proves you at this moment. 98. I keep speaking to you, and do not profane my mandate. 99. Come to me, people. Cry in truth, that I receive your cry. The flesh is fragile, the spirit is strong. He knows what he has received, and is obedient and in accordance with my will. But your envelope is the child who, at times, will feel weak in his journey, and to which you yourself are going to strengthen. Come, people, leave your pain at this moment before my plans. Open your heart and leave it to me until the last of your complaints for me to make her at peace. For a long time you have silenced your pain, knowing the absence of my word. But in the last moment, flesh has betrayed you. The envelope has weakened because it is the living. And I also take your envelope in my arms. I fall asleep in them and I say, do not fear that in truth, if life is a bitter cup from your lips, I through your spirit, I will know how to sweeten it. 101. Pupils, crying.
All right, I don't know when she's gonna stop.
Of your pain.
She ain't never gonna stop.
That is how you will clearly
Come on.
to contemplate with clarity.
Y'all hold up. I'm gonna give her one more verse.
Come to me, men and women, old people and children who have become my witnesses. Come, and before my divine presence, vent all the pain in your heart, so that when you have truly thrown up the last drop of pain, when you have deposited in your Father the last breath of sadness and the last sigh, only dwelling in the depths of your heart, joy, peace, serenity, because I want you to be the people who own the serenity that consciousness gives for the duty accomplished and hope in the new time prepared. 103.
All right, she ain't never gonna stop. That's the Book of Life. That's the Book of Life, Volume 12. That's one of the last books in the Bible being read by Heart of Josiah. Heart of Josiah. You can finish reading it. I don't know when that chapter was going to stop. It was over 101 verses. I thought eventually it was going to stop. Say my peace be with you. But it didn't. It kept going. So again, you can hear that over at Heart of Josiah. Where they've, as far as I remember, as far as I know, I don't know if they've changed it, but they have the complete volume 12 over there. Maybe some other stuff. But anyway, hey y'all, Coach in the Fight here. In today's video, we're talking about the stuff on this picture, if y'all can see it, right? I'm gonna have to get over here. Make sure y'all can see it, right? Let me jump over here to the computer. I guess I could have left it rolling. But I know a whole lot of y'all was wondering what was going on. Anyway, so what's going on right now is I'm going over to the channel to see if there's any comments. Make sure we're live, do a mic check. See if there's any comments before we talk about this image. We're going to talk about this image just a little bit. Because sorry to say, guys, this may be how I have to go. I may need to lean on the lives a little more as just a last resort. I can't really do, it on my own will. I have been praying about whether I can share the whole video that I'm working on live, but I don't have permission to do that. But I can share some of the stuff that we have discovered as a side note, which is what you're looking at here. What you're looking at is our clock, celestial clock. Now, you're used to the first part of the clock. Let me put it up there. That right there at the top of the screen. Well, I could leave it big. The one at the top of the screen is us. Aratza. That's Earth. That's our planet. And so when you look at it, you can recognize the celestial clock in it if you understand your Hebrew. Starting over there in the 4 or the 5 o'clock position, you have spring. And then after that, in the 7 or 8 o'clock position, you have summer. In the 10 and 11 o'clock position, you have autumn. Anyway. More importantly, you have the planets here, the wandering stars. So you don't have all of them listed. The first ones are way over here. There we are again, right there. You can see us with the right there at the top of the screen. I don't have a way of drawing it for you. Right there at the top of the screen where you see the bull, the head, and the man on his side. That's indicating Abba, our Father, the head or leadership. Well, the first one is strength, the next one is leadership, and then followed by righteousness. That's what Earth is supposed to be about. Strength, leadership, and righteousness. Or righteousness, leadership, and strength. But anyway, if you look at the one at the bottom, well, we can start at the top. The next one is Nu Wa Naha. Now, you guys would pronounce that back in school when you was being educated. You pronounce that one as Vensus. But we pronounce it Nawaga, Nawaha, Nawanaha, Nawanaha. If I got that right. Y'all help me now. This is on my board in the house, and I've since erased it. So, and this wasn't the meat of it. This was kind of we didn't want to leave anybody out. So the next one is Kawakaba. Kawakaba. That's going to be the next rock closest to the sun. The sun is actually not listed here. The one on the bottom is Laba Naha, which is the moon. That's what we call the moon. Laba Naha. So if you want to know the official name of the moon, it's according to the, anyway. And so we wanted to list those because all of those would be represented or seen somewhere closer to the celestial clock that we're used to. If you're not used to it, you can see what I'm talking about over at coachinthefight.shop. Anybody who edited the video could actually take out that time delay and that stutter too. Anyway, excuse me. So what you're looking here is how the celestial clock works beyond the time clock. Now, of course, Once you get to, let me pronounce this correctly, Aratza, which is earth, for you guys who are speaking English still. Once you get to Aratza, you've already gotten past the seconds, the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the seasons, and you're already up to a year. And so that's what that outer ring represents, a year. That's why you have the seasons going all the way around it. Winter is the one over in the 2 or the 3 o'clock position. If you look at it, you can make it out. Right there, you see winter. Oh, look like something's been erased. What's been erased? I don't know. It looks like something was there. Right there, like it was a Wa, that's the hook. The Ya, that's the hand. The Na, that's the seed. The Ta, that's that Enoch calendar. It looks like there's something missing. And then the Ra, that's the head. So winter. Might have had the Ha. The only thing could have been missing is the E in there. And the E transliterates, most of the time, the E transliterates to the Ha. It's the breath sound that you would make when you hear an E and you make that extra breath sound. That transliterates back to Yahweh, or old school Hebrew. It transliterates back to Ha. So that's probably somebody probably went in there and erased that out or something. I don't know. Elohim may have did it. But anyway, that was us trying to figure stuff out. Now these over here, however, until we get down to the bottom ones, are actually textbook. Starting at the top, you have Aratza, that's the earth. The next one is the Moadi Yama, Moedim planet, Moadi Yama. Y'all spell it M-A-R-S, like when you was getting schooled. But that's the Moedim planet, or the Moadiyama planet. And then you have the Tzadakwa. That's the one that you guys call JEPTI something or another. Anyway, it's on a 12-year cycle, and that's why when you look in this inner clock, all of a sudden you see numbers start appear again that looks like a regular clock. But remember, we left the earth behind way up in that first ring. We're down here on the third ring. So what's that? 12 years. That's actually 12 years. That's actually 12 hands on the year clock. And that's what's important to understand. We can go all the way back to grade school and learn, because with that analog clock that we were so struggling to understand back there in the first grade, once again, we're about to go through the same thing again, except now we're talking planets, and instead of talking hours, years. The next ring, if you have a celestial clock calendar, you're not surprised that it has something like a 30 there. If I draw the number under the line, I have it above the line, 29.4. That's because that's where it ends at. But it's on a celestial clock, you see there's a 30 there, because across the line, of course, is the 30 straddles the line. Well, yes, of course, you remember all of that. But now you have to something or another. You have to transpose that over onto the planet called, let's pull it up here so we can look at it correctly the first time, Shabbathaya. Let me put it at the top of the screen. See it up there? It's a little bit erased, but some of it, like the tooth, I'm gonna put it there. The tooth over there. Here, bouncing ball. The tooth right here is a little bit, that's a molar. Right here, let me draw a circle around it. That's a molar, supposed to be like crushing like a tooth. And here's the house. There's the house. It's been a little bit decimated. Somebody went in and touched the house. And you have the covenant right there, the Thawa. Looks like a plus sign. Doesn't look like a T, looks like a plus sign. And then you have the Yada right there. And so the name of the planet is Shabbathaya. Shabbathaya. Now, what you'll notice in there, if you look, you see Shabbath in there is in Shabbath day. And so then what you see at the end, that's bouncing ball. So what you see right here is Shabbath, as in Shabbath day. But then over here you have the Yod. The Yod is assistance. And so what that's saying is this is giving you assistance with the Sabbath. And what assistance is it giving you? It's a clock, just like the moon is. The planet Shabbataya tells us the sabbatical years, when the sabbatical years are. You just have to learn how to read it. And that's part of what we're doing here is we're learning how to read the clock. Like I said, we're all going back to the first grade here. What's the opposite of romper room? Maybe not the opposite. Let me see. Romper. Yeah, that sounds about right. There's no L in it. We need an L in there. Romper room. But anyway, we're going to work our way toward the middle of these clocks. Now, so we have the 12 and we have the 30. Like I said, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, go over to coachinthefight.shop and you can see, you can even print you out a copy of the CCC, the Celestial Clock Calendar. Look in the part where it says free downloads, and you can take it to Kinko's and have them to print you out a 4-foot wall-size copy and put it in a poster board for about $50 and put it on the wall. Put some strings attached to it. How about we put it on a magnet, put a magnet behind it, and then put a string on a magnet in the front, and that way you can push the pegs around the board. Praise the Lord. Anyway, anybody want to play store? Anybody want to play store? We already got the store running. We just need some people to come in and actually work the cash register, host the people when they come into the store, come up with some innovative ideas. I'll be back there with you guys, you innovators. Research and development. I'll be on that team. I can't necessarily lead that team because I do have other priorities, but I can help play store. Anyway, inthefight@yahoo.com. Send me an email or go down in the comment section or however you can get in touch, whatever way. Pray, whatever. I don't know. Get in touch. Because a lot of people could benefit from this. And, we're giving it away for free. It's just a matter of, making people understand it and understand why they need it and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's continue down with the planets. Because the next one is actually not textbook. What does that say? Bouncing ball time. Na Wasa. You guys call it Uranus. And I don't mind calling it Uranus because I understand where it comes from. You hear me call it by the textbook name. They just discovered it. And they gave it a name that's similar to Uri or Uriel. And so when I see Uriel in Uranus, I don't have a problem calling it that. Just like that other planet that you call Saturn, we called it Shabbathaya. Shabbathaya. See, I can't really say that Saturn because it ain't really, it ain't too close and it could mean something else, and I ain't with that. Let me go out here and see if I need to protect the cat. Hold on. Hey. You all right? Neither is the next name. Nafa Ta Wana. I got some help with these. but they're just based on the phonetic spelling or the phonetic of the word. So you should be able to hear it, especially if I say it real quick. Nafatawana and Falawatawa. Now that one right there is the 9th planet. You see there at the top of the screen. That's the 9th planet. Pala. Woo. Ta. Whoa. Plata Wooda Whoa. I said it wrong. Plawada Whoa. But anyway, so that's actually the 9th planet. Now, they discovered another planet which would otherwise be the 10th planet. And I would go as far as to say, especially on a live video, that's why you tune into the lives. I can say stuff on lives that I can't say on regulars, especially if I don't forget it. But that's why they downgraded the so-called 9th planet, is to hide the 10th planet. And that's what the video that I'm working on now is proof where the 10th planet is, Planet X. And potentially Nauru. What we're going to find out is that they're not necessarily the same thing. Planet X is just a regular old planet. Nauru is what's coming with it when that planet lines up on a celestial clock. When that planet lines up on a celestial clock, yeah, you can expect Nauru to come around the corner. They ain't necessarily the same thing. And so I believe the scientists have understood this when they understood the 9th planet and recognized the 10th planet. The 10th planet wasn't recognized or discovered until 2004. 2004 is when they discovered so-called 10th planet. Now, when did they downgrade the 9th planet? Was it after the fact? If they downgraded it after the fact, yeah, we can go to Vegas and bet on that. The fact that they're hiding Planet X, Planet 10, planet number 10, they're hiding it from us. And you say, well, why would they hide it from us? It's they don't want us to panic. If you want to know about it, go over there and watch that little clip called The Great Reset. It's a little thing, and it kind of expounds. It's the Illuminati telling us, things ahead of time. But anyway, look at the clock and match the clock up with real time. Like when it says a particular day on a Thursday, find out what year that is. And it's between, I'm going to tell you now, it's between 2025 and 2028. That all of those dates that come up on that little bitty clock, they correspond to. So why would he have one of those clocks from the 70s there in a time that's supposed to take place in the 2030s? Is so it can show you precisely the time, the date, the day of the week, the day of the month, so you can just pull out a calendar, digital calendar, and look to see when do they line up. And a little bit further, they line up with the feast days and star alignments and days of remembrances and stuff like that. Y'all excuse me. Got a lot to say. Anyway. Let me get through this before I go through the comments. All right, so the next planet then, you see with all of the X's around it, is Planet X. Like I said, they discovered it in 2004. And since I believe they downgraded the other planet to hide the fact. Now, why would they do so? Because it's a clock. And it tells us precisely when this whole thing that they got going on going to come to an end. Reset. Sure, we might go through some type of economic reset here and all, all that kind of housing reset. We may go through all that awakening reset, but we're talking about the whole 6,001 year reset, the whole Big Bang reset, the whole Kingdom of Heaven reset. That we here and we ain't never going back again. Reset. No more war. All that reset. That is when this particular planet hits the starting point for all planets, or is it the starting point? Hold on. See how this clock over here? Now you have the 3 o'clock position over here. And then you have the 1500 position over here. So that means the 2400 position over here. Right? And so what we're talking about, we got 5 people looking, 5 people liking, 100% we like that. Whoop. And so what we're talking about is when you have each one of these wandering stars, each one of these rings on here represents one of the wandering stars. You call them planets. When each one of them reach this point over here, clink, that's the reset part for that particular planet or star. So in other words, that's how you read the stars. You actually wait for a planet like Titsdakwa to come around over here to this point, and then you really start paying attention, because all of a sudden we're about to start this 12-year cycle all over again. The same with the other one, Shabbataya. When it comes over to this point here, we're about to start this 30-year cycle all over again. And like a clock, or unlike a clock, every 119 years, which is a multiple of 7, of course, when Shabbataya and this Tzdakwa converge, is what we're talking about, or what we're hearing about when it talks about the 120 jubilees, because 119 point so and so times 49 years equals 5,880, which is the period between the time that Cain was born, the first human with a belly button, and basically the time when we are ready to go over to the kingdom of heaven, with, of course, 49 extra years for the silence that we read about in Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1, this period that we're in now. Yeah, I'm scratching my head too. But you can back it up and rewind it, though. You can back it up, rewind it, and praise the Lord, Father in heaven. You can pray about it, and you can talk about it down there in the comment section. Anyway, how did that happen? Man, this phone be doing something. Oh, okay, I did it. Whew, gotta be careful. Let's see, what else before we go on? All right, so we're down here. I'll put the X's around it so you can see that it's part of the clock. Now, what's we need to get together and talk about, have a Bible study about, act like we're watching the show and actually get in this thing, start swinging some punches ourselves in this fight, is why does this all of a sudden go from 12s to 7s to a 10? Now, it could make sense, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. He said, what are you talking about that is in a 10? Well, look at the to that. There's another planet in there to that. It's Rats Yasa. It's on a 500 and something year cycle. It takes it, there you go, 553 years for it to go completely around the sun. Well, when you break it down into a cycle, you see 4 of those makes 2,000 years. And so that's why it's split into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the next one you see is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. See that? That's where your 1950 years come from that we keep hearing about in the Third Testament of the Bible. It's 1950 years plus 10, or 1960 years minus 10. That same 10 years is you hear about back there with Moses' time, from the time that they had the Jubilee year until the time that they actually got out of Egypt and crossed the Red Sea, was 10 years. And so we hear about this 10-year period a lot. But anyway, you look at these around the clock and you have three of those. You have one that the first one started back there with Cain, like I said, the first human with a belly button. And then you went so-called 2,000 years, because there is a period of time anywhere you go around the clock, 1960 plus 40 or something like that, you end up with Abraham. And then you go another 2,000 years and you end up with the Messiah. And then you go another 2,000 years and you end up with us. And then you go another 2,000 years and you're going to end up on another rock somewhere. Or not, hopefully it's not another rock, but we're going to end up on another mansion somewhere else. We'll be gone in another 2,000 years. But there you see it and how you have clock. And then there in the middle is the number 5,880, which is the Yahweh Diffs. No, Yahuwah, what they call us? Yahuwah. So it's Yahuwah Yahuwah. That's supposed to be us, I think. Yahuwah. That's our clock. The Gentiles, they think about 6,000 years because they're thinking about the sun. We don't necessarily think about the sun, so the year will count for us is 5,880. They start their count back there with Adam or Eve being created. They start their clock back there with Eve being created. Their 6,000 years starts back with Eve being created. Ours starts with the first human on the planet, because that's what this is all about, being human. And Cain was actually the first being with a belly button, first person with a belly button, I should say. And so that makes him the first human as far as I'm concerned. I think some others, hopefully some others too. I stand by myself, but I will. No problems. But anyway, so theirs ends, their time period ends in 2029. Their time period ends in 2029. Ours ends in 1975. What? Yeah. We're just in this transition period that we talked about again in Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1, this 49-year period where we're given a chance to repent and get on this bus. Gentiles can get in or on the ship right now. Israelites can get back in the way, and that's what this is all about. This last period of time given us to repent before the doors and the gates completely closes in 2029, 2030. 2030, it's going to be over with. Everybody's in. Everybody that ain't. And so right now in this period, people like me are supposed to be shining a light and helping people, and people like you too, and people, that ain't, interested, supposed to be given the opportunity to get interested in this whole each one teach one thing. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys, documented. So it's on and popping around here. It's on like popcorn right here at the Hillbilly Homestead. We got a lot going on. The only reason why you don't hear people around banging and swinging hammers and building and construction is because they ran out of materials. They done gone to the store to get some more. And let me see, I don't know how much I can tell y'all, but I ain't told you before. I done told y'all everything. I ain't got nothing new to tell you. Except it's on and popcorn. Told you. There was gonna be days like this. All right, looking over in the comment section. We ain't got that many, so we ain't gonna be there that long. Like, better do a refresh. Let me do a refresh. They retracted messages and all kinds of stuff. Yep, message gone. Oh man, I forgot to see who it was. Oh man, I did a reset and it took his comment all the way. I could have at least called his name and thanked him for his comment. But anyway, we got Roy the Most High. Y'all said, "Shalom, Wama, coach and in the fight family, peace, love, and light." Appreciate that. She says, so the star alignment on the 19th taking place with 6 planets aligned on the Shabbat. There's a star alignment on the 19th? Hold on. Computer, what star alignment is on the 19th?
From greenmatters.com. This lineup is said to include Repton, the most part of January's event, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. This event will take place on February 28, 2025, and you should be able to see most of them without the aid of a telescope.
Oh, 2025. Computer, what day is it?
It's Thursday, January 15th.
Computer, what year is it?
The current year is 2026. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Thanks for your feedback.
Anyway. All right, so what was the question again? So the star alignment on the 19th with the 6th planet aligned on the Sabbath. Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about. Now, not necessarily in this video. In this video, we're talking about the clock itself. And yeah, you know how your clock lines up at 12 o'clock, and then it lines up another way at 6 o'clock. Then it lines up another way at 3 and 9, and those are prayer times. Yeah. And so that's what star alignment is like, the one where all of the stars align. Yeah, those are certain periods of time when we should be elevating and praying, because what's going on is the communication pathways are opening between us and the Elohim. In other words, they're able to focus emanations to us through those star alignments, like mirrors being, like they can focus like a mirror, like really directed directly on us during those periods of time. And for those to land on Shabbatha days, for them to land on Shabbatha Yamin, is significant because we're asked to rest and sit down and meditate and pray. So that's opening us up for whatever they're sending through the pipeline, so to speak. You know, they sending it through the alignment. They let us know. They sending it anyway. They letting us know when they sending it by the star alignment. And then they asking us to sit down. Or he is our Father in heaven is asking us to sit down to receive it on those days, even before and all of that. So yeah, that is extremely significant. Appreciate that. And then she says, just before the upcoming new moon. Now, this is something I need to look up and see what is she talking about. Let me see. I'm here by myself, so I'm going to find my pebbles. Let's see if I can get a little bit off track and find out what it is she's talking about. All right, I got permission. Well, let me see. I don't like playing with this phone like this. We're changing gears, you know. This is what I want to show y'all. So, there's 6 people looking. All right, y'all. 6 people. I'm about to go out for about 30 seconds. I'm about to put y'all on pause for 30 seconds as I change and pull up my other screen. I wasn't prepared to do this. I ain't. And so, yeah, be right back. I got to close the curtain on you for a second. I'll be right back. 4 people, 2 people left. They're like, I don't know what we're going to see. Anyway. All right, we're back. Now, what we're looking at orbits. Okay. And what we want to see is how they align. There's a button here to make them quit shifting. Now, all right, so what planets are there? She says on the 19th, 6 planets aligning on the Sabbath. So let's see if we can find out 6 planets aligning. The ones that have to align the most are these here. Tis Dakwa, Shabbataya, Uranus, and those out there, because the other ones are moving too fast. These move real slow. And so the alignment then is how, from our perspective, we can see all of those planets at one time. We're going to see all of these in here. And then we'll be able to see all of those there. Let's look at the sky. So it'll look kind of like that, where you have all of them in the sky at one time, except it'll be at night. See, right there you have the sun that would be otherwise buffering out the light. And so star alignments during the daytime don't mean so much. It's the star alignments at night that mean, of course, way more. And at that particular time, you don't necessarily consider it a time. You don't necessarily consider it a star alignment. However, you do consider new moon day a star alignment. Not necessarily the Sabbath day. We don't consider it a star alignment. And so this is what I'm talking about as far as the 10th planet or planet X is not a star alignment. You know, it's just that particular star getting back to its starting position, and that what comes with it. Each one of these planets that goes into its starting position, like the planet that deals with righteousness, Tez Dikwa. Well, when it gets back to its starting position is the beginning of this righteousness cycle. Well, you got the Shabbataya. That doesn't have anything to do with righteousness. That's helping us with our Sabbath day. So when it gets back to the beginning of its period, it's telling us about the beginning or indicating the beginning of our sabbatical year and that kind of thing. Of course, you got to know how to read the clock. Like, I told you, had to go back to the first grade. And you remember how hard it was in the first grade to learn how to read that clock. It wasn't nothing but about minutes, hours, and seconds. This one includes 9 planets, and they're all operating at they're operating on number 7 instead of 12s and 10s that we're used to. They're operating on the number 7. Let me back up so you can see what I mean. Zoom out so you can see what I mean. They're operating on number 7. Not the some of them are on 7, but once you get out to which is on an 84-year cycle, it's 84 years. That's 12 times 7. The next planet after that is 168 years. That's 14 times 7. The next one after that, you can guess, is 21 times 7. And you can keep going. It don't necessarily, it skips around. You got a 40 times 7, a 44 times 7, which is those aren't necessarily on this one. Well, no, those two. No, the one is missing. The one that's there is one planet that's missing. The last planet in our solar system, which would be planet 12, is that one right you're looking at, 553 years. You spell it if they had taught you that in school. They probably didn't even know it back when you was in school. But if they had taught it to you, you would have spelt it ERIS, Echo Romeo Indigo Sierra. And it's 553 years going around. They call it a dwarf. Just like they did the 9th planet before they downgraded it. Well, this one they haven't recognized it, the 12th planet. And you say, well, what makes it so interesting about the 12th planet? Well, 12 times around equals 6,000 years. That's how it's used as a clock. If we lived that long, we could watch this this planet wandering star go around 12 times and be like, yep, it's time to go, y'all. Time to go. You know, about another half hour. We are out of here. We're going to another rock. You know, about 1,000 years left on here, and then we out. It said 7,000 years. We done watched this thing go around 12 times. On that 13th time, we're gonna be looking for someplace else to live. Anyway, I got something out of this video. You know, I know we gotta put up stuff, you know, like this. If you got anything out of it, you can get the names of the wandering stars. Again, it's Aratsa, that's us. We call it the Earth. That's Aratsa. Moadayama. Moadayama. That's the next planet. That's the 4th planet from the sun. Of course, we're the 3rd planet. Then you have Tizdakwa. That's the 12-year planet. Then you have the Shabbathaya. That's the 30-year planet. And we're rounding up, yes. And then you have these other ones that need work on down there. You can see what they are. And these are phonic transliterations, which means they just me writing some Hebrew on the board. So if you think you know better with those other ones down below, feel free to find out better. Feel free to help me out. Appreciate it. And when we do get the official calendar up, you know, we'll use those and give you praise, credit for your contribution to. In the meantime, I think that's going to be it. Let me check the comments one more again. And I thank you guys too. Repton says thanks. And so I realize that's from all of you guys. I want to thank you guys for stopping by, spending this time with me. Again, if you got anything out of the video, please be an encouragement and add it down to the comment section, and I'll see you down there. Shalom.